Ever ordered salmon at a restaurant and wondered, who's making sure this is actually good?
Interesting question.
Well, today we're diving deep into the world of aquaculture quality supervisors.
The unsung heroes of delicious and safe seafood.
And we've got some really interesting info from RoleCatcher, both their career guide and their take on the job market.
What I find interesting is how you don't just become an aquaculture quality supervisor, right? There's a whole path.
Oh, so it's like a journey.
Yeah, like leveling up in a video game, but with, real life fish.
Okay, walk me through it. What's step one?
Usually you'd start as an aquaculture quality technician, so you're doing those hands-on inspections and tests.
So are we talking like water quality, making sure the fish food is good, that sort of thing?
Exactly. You're basically a fish health inspector, making sure those underwater citizens are in tip-top shape.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But where do you go from there?
That's where the aquaculture quality analyst comes in. Now you're putting on your data hat, looking for those patterns.
Patterns? Like what?
Like, did this specific fish food actually help the fish grow faster? You're digging into the data to find out.
Data detective. I like it. What's after you've cracked the data code?
Well, that's when you're ready to become the aquaculture quality coordinator. Instead of just analyzing, you're leading the charge.
So more responsibility, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. Think of it like an orchestra, and you're making sure everyone's playing the same tune when it comes to quality.
So you're the conductor of the quality control symphony. I love it. But what about the top dog, the aquaculture quality supervisor?
That's right. You've reached the top of the food chain, so to speak. You're setting the standards, leading the team, and basically, the buck stops with you.
Sounds like a lot of pressure. Speaking of, what does the guide say about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the job?
Yeah, they don't sugarcoat it. On the plus side, job security is great. Plus, you get to work with marine life every day.
That's got to be amazing for someone who loves the ocean. But there's always a but, isn't there?
Right, you got to be ready for long hours, maybe some rough conditions. Think early mornings, unexpected weather.
And let's not forget, you're dealing with live animals.
Yeah.
Things can be unpredictable.
Exactly. It's demanding, especially since you're responsible for their well-being and making sure they're safe to eat.
That's a lot of responsibility. So it takes more than just a love for fish to succeed, I'm guessing.
They emphasize a bunch of skills, but monitoring is huge. They give it a 64% importance rating.
64%? Wow. So what does monitoring even mean for an aquaculture quality supervisor? What are they actually looking at all day?
So imagine you're walking through the fish farm, right? You're not just taking a stroll. You're looking at how the fish are behaving. Like, are they moving around like they normally do?
Makes sense you'd notice if something was off.
Right. And then you're checking the water. How clear is it? Are there any weird smells? It's about constantly looking for anything out of the ordinary.
So it's not enough to just see things. You have to know what you're looking for, what it means.
Yeah, you have to put two and two together. That's where those critical thinking skills come in. Let's say you notice the water quality is a little off.
What then? Do you just jump in the water with a net?
Laughs? Not quite. First, you got to figure out what's going on. Is it the filtration system? Maybe there's something wrong with the fish food. You have to think fast and find a solution.
I bet that can be stressful. I imagine that's where being able to lead and communicate effectively with your team comes in, like the guide was talking about.
Definitely. Let's say you do find a problem with the fish food. You can't just tell your team, hey, something's up with the food. You have to be clear about what's wrong, how to fix it, and you might have to explain it to management too.
That makes sense. Now, we have to talk about this whole HACCP thing. Honestly, I'm a bit lost on that one.
It sounds way more complicated than it is. Basically, think of HACCP, hazard analysis, and critical control points, like a set of rules for keeping the food safe.
So like a recipe for making sure the seafood we eat doesn't make us sick.
Exactly. And each step in the process of raising the fish, from when they're tiny to when they end up on our plates, has its own set of rules.
Okay, so walk me through it. Like, if you're in charge of feeding the fish, what would you have to do?
Well, for one, you'd be checking the food itself to make sure there's nothing wrong with it, no contamination or anything. You'd keep a close eye on the water temperature to make sure the uneaten food doesn't go bad. And you'd keep records of everything.
So it's all about staying one step ahead, right? Finding problems before they even start.
Exactly. With HACCP, you're building safety into every single step. That way you know the fish are healthy and the people eating them are safe.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So you've worked your way up the ladder. You've got HACCP down. How else do you become a top-notch aquaculture quality supervisor?
Never stop learning. The industry is always changing, so you have to keep up with the newest research, technology. all of it.
So how do you do that? Aside from, like, reading a lot of fish books.
Well, certifications are a big one. The guide specifically mentions the Certified Aquaculture Professional, the CAP.
Is that, like, the gold standard? Does having that on your resume mean you're the best of the best?
It definitely shows you're serious about the field and that you have the skills to get the job done. But it's not all about pieces of paper. Networking is huge, too.
Getting your name out there, meeting people.
Exactly. Joining a professional organization like the World Aquaculture Society is a great way to do that.
I can see how that would be helpful. Bounce ideas off each other, hear about job openings, all that.
For sure. Plus, it's always good to talk to other people who really understand what it's like to do this job, the challenges, the successes.
I have to say, I had no idea how much went into aquaculture. I always enjoy eating seafood,
Mhm.
but I never thought about all the work that goes on behind the scenes.
It's definitely more than meets the eye.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, since we're talking about the behind the scenes, what can RoleCatcher do to help someone land their dream job, even if it's not fish related?
Imagine this. You have something that reads every job description for you and tells you exactly what skills to highlight on your resume. That's basically what RoleCatcher does.
So it's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt.
Pretty much. And it gets even better. RoleCatcher also gives you practice interview questions, and not just any questions, questions that are specifically for the job you want.
Oh, wow, that's smart.
Right. Like if you're applying to be an aquaculture quality supervisor, they might ask you about how you'd use HACCP or handle a team disagreement, real life scenarios.
That's way more helpful than those generic interview questions everyone tells you to prepare for.
Exactly. And for anyone who's applying to a ton of jobs at once, RoleCatcher has this browser plugin called RoleCatcher.capture, and it can basically grab job postings from all over the internet.
Oh, so you don't have to spend hours searching through different websites.
Exactly. Saves you so much time and energy.
It's like having your own personal assistant for the job hunt. That's amazing.
It really streamlines the whole process.
Well, I have to say, this has been fascinating. I never knew how much went into making sure the seafood I eat is safe.
It's a whole world behind the scenes, but someone's got to do it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening who thinks they might want to be an aquaculture quality supervisor, what's the most important thing to remember?
I'd say if you're passionate about the environment, you like to solve problems, and you're not afraid of a little hard work, this could be a great fit.
I love it. It's challenging but rewarding, and at the end of the day, you're contributing to a vital part of our food system.
Exactly.
Well, it's been great chatting with you today. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive into the world of aquaculture quality supervisors.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.